Welcome back to our channel, where we delve into gripping and often perplexing stories that have captivated the public's attention. Today, we bring you a tale that spans over 3 decades, a haunting saga of grief, deception, and an unexpected twist that has left the community in shock. In a startling turn of events, the man who once moved us with his tears on camera over the tragic loss of his son is now facing a dark and unsettling revelation. Join us as we explore the chilling story of a father charged with the murder of his own child, 34 years after the heart-wrenching moment that brought him to the forefront of the public eye. This is a story that unravels the layers of a mystery long thought to be laid to rest, exposing a web of secrets that will leave you questioning the truth behind the tears. The arrest of Victor Lee Turner, a 60-year-old resident of South Carolina, for the murder of his 5-year-old son, Justin Lee Turner, in 1989, has shocked the community. His wife, Megan Turner, formerly known as Pamela Turner, and Justin's stepmother, has also been charged. The case dates back to March 1989, when Justin was found dead in a camper on the Turner family's property. Victor, previously a media focus for his emotional TV appearance, claiming to find his son's lifeless body, is now accused of the murder. The arrest has left the Cross Hill community seeking answers after over 3 decades of mystery and grief. The unfolding legal proceedings shed light on a complex story of deception, grief, and the pursuit of justice. The investigation reveals a misleading initial account from the family and suspicious behavior upon discovering Justin's body. It is indeed quite perplexing. Delving into the intricate details surrounding Justin's tragic demise begs the question: why did it take law enforcement a staggering 34 years to unearth the unsettling truth that implicates the father as the alleged perpetrator? To comprehend the intricacies of this decades-long mystery, it's crucial to explore the circumstances surrounding the little boy's murder with a keen eye for detail. The initial news coverage of Justin's death, featuring his father, Victor Lee Turner, breaking down on camera, presented a narrative that captivated public attention. However, the recent arrest has raised numerous questions about the investigation's trajectory and the factors that led to such a prolonged period of uncertainty. As we scrutinize the timeline of events, it becomes imperative to analyze the information available to law enforcement at the time of Justin's death in 1989. The discrepancies in the family's initial account, where they falsely claimed Justin had boarded the school bus, only add to the intrigue. Berkeley County Sheriff Dwayne Lewis's revelation that Justin never made it onto the bus, coupled with the alleged obvious behavior exhibited by Victor and Megan Turner upon discovering the child's body, forms a complex tapestry that demands meticulous examination. The arrest warrant's description of Victor's actions following the discovery of Justin's lifeless body raises eyebrows. His purported statement, "He's in there, my son is in there, somebody's hurt him," coupled with later remarks expressing a sense that Justin looked dead, intensifies the mystery. The crucial question emerges: did the initial investigation miss vital clues, or were there factors that hindered the discovery of the alleged crime? As we navigate the depths of this tragic narrative, we aim to uncover the layers of a story that remained shrouded in ambiguity for over 3 decades. What led investigators to revisit this cold case, and what new evidence emerged to prompt the arrest of Victor Lee Turner? Let us untangle the intricacies surrounding Justin's untimely death and explore the factors that finally brought the chilling truth to light after 34 years. This is the tragic events surrounding the murder of Justin Turner. Above the expansive farmlands and lush wilderness on the town's outskirts, the clouds gathered ominously, casting a shadow over the usually serene Sunday morning. The downtown streets, typically bustling, were eerily quiet, with only occasional locals seeking their morning rituals of coffee and newspapers. A missing child had dominated the airwaves for 2 days, instigating fear and precaution among parents who limited their children's play boundaries to the safety of curbs, sidewalks, and fences. The initial reports were unclear. A 5-year-old boy had left home to catch the bus, but never returned. Speculation ran rampant, with authorities unable to confirm whether the child had run away or fallen victim to an abductor in the area. Despite 2 full days of intensive searches, no trace of the boy had been found. Ponds were dragged, woods meticulously combed, and neighborhood streets teemed with searchers, desperate for any sign of the missing child. As Sunday unfolded, the search efforts escalated, drawing in police, search and rescue squads, and local volunteers. The sheriff's department strategically assigned different areas to search groups, expanding the radius in hopes of uncovering clues. Yet the closest locations to the home had yielded nothing. No clothing, no footprints, no indication that the boy had ever been there. The looming possibility of an abduction became more plausible with each passing day. On the 3rd day of the search, as thick cloud coverage threatened rain, a perplexing turn of events occurred. Less than 30 minutes into the search, the case took a sharp and unexpected twist. In a small blue and white trailer behind the home, the boy's father made a heart-wrenching discovery. Beneath the seat cushions of a small bench in the dining area, tucked behind a sliding door, the lifeless body of the child was found wedged into a storage area. The revelation plunged the investigation into chaos, leaving authorities baffled. Sheriff's deputies were adamant that the camper had been thoroughly searched on both Friday and Saturday, vehemently asserting that the boy had not been there. The circumstances surrounding this sudden and tragic discovery raise numerous questions, adding layers of complexity to a case that has mystified investigators for decades. In my opinion, that should have served as a significant clue pointing towards the father's involvement in the child's death. How did the boy mysteriously end up in that storage area? The sheriff's department maintained they thoroughly searched the place without finding anything, and now, all of a sudden, the child's body surfaces there? Well, let's delve deeper into the unfolding story. The pressing question emerged. Had the child been concealed right under their noses the entire time, or had someone managed to surreptitiously place him in that location under the cover of darkness between searches? This marked the inception of a cascade of unanswered questions that would fracture a town, strain familial ties, and create divisions among different branches of law enforcement. Born in 1983 to parents Elaine and Victor Turner, Justin Lee Turner was described by neighbors, friends, and family as a sweet boy with bright blonde hair and captivating blue eyes. While those eyes easily drew attention, a closer inspection revealed a sense of indefinable sadness locked behind them. Justin, often labeled as socially shy, would spend his time playing alone on his father's property off rural Horseshoe Road. A neighbor, Bronzel Blanding, described Justin as a sweet little boy who appeared to be a loner, playing by himself when visiting her kid's swing set. Despite his inclination toward solitude, Justin had friends in the neighborhood, and his best friend, Justin Smith, lived just across the street. Smith fondly recalled their times together, describing Justin as fun, outgoing, and very gentle. Attending kindergarten with his friend, Justin Turner would arrive at the bus stop, almost always under the supervision of his stepmother, Pamela. The two boys, both named Justin, forged a friendship on the school bus, which stopped just in front of Smith's grandmother's home. A lover of baseball from a young age, Justin Turner became a mascot for the Lads and All-Stars, a team of 11 and 12-year-olds. Despite being too young to join the team, Justin's bright-eyed and supportive presence endeared him to the players, especially L.M. Garrick, a skilled member of the team. For the most part, Justin appeared to be a happy child. While no one noted signs of depression, there was an intangible aura around him that hinted at something slightly amiss, though elusive to pinpoint. Some of this may have stemmed from his parents' tumultuous marriage and subsequent divorce. Victor, often known as Buddy, and Elaine had a strained relationship marked by toxicity and difficulty. The marriage, initiated in January of '76, progressively unraveled, leading to their divorce. Buddy secured primary custody of Justin, with allegations of adultery against Elaine during the marriage influencing the custody decision. The contentious issue of infidelity fueled animosity between the former spouses. Buddy, reportedly seeing Pamela during the marriage, married her shortly after the divorce. Elaine, on the other hand, remarried a man named Russell Pace and resided in Somerville, approximately 12 miles southwest of Buddy's home in Moncks Corner, South Carolina. Despite the custody arrangement, Elaine maintained contact with her son through weekend visits and daily phone calls, expressing a deep affection for Justin. Tragically, in the midst of attempting to alter the custody agreement, Justin mysteriously went missing, casting a dark shadow over the already complex dynamics of this family saga. On the morning of Friday, March 3, 1989, Justin, a 5-year-old at the time, prepared for his last day of school before the weekend. Getting himself dressed, he made a small breakfast, a bowl of Cinnamon Toast Crunch cereal. His stepmother, Pamela, hopped into the shower without checking the clock, and moments later, she heard a small knock at the door. It was around 11 a.m., and Justin informed her that he was heading over to the neighbors to wait for the bus, a routine he typically shared with Pamela. However, on this particular morning, Pamela bid goodbye to Justin and continued with her shower. Justin's home, situated at the end of a long dirt driveway connecting to Horseshoe Road, required a walk of approximately 100 yards to reach the bus stop. Somewhere along this short distance, something went wrong, and Justin never made it to the bus stop. Neither his best friend, Justin Smith, nor Smith's grandmother saw him that day. Initially, they assumed he might be sick or had an appointment, giving little thought to his absence. As far as Pamela knew, Justin had boarded the bus and gone to school. The first inkling that Justin hadn't attended school surfaced nearly 4 hours later when Pamela went to pick him up from the bus stop at around 3 p.m. The bus arrived, children descended the stairs to their waiting parents, but Justin was conspicuously absent. Pamela inquired with the bus driver, only to learn that he had never boarded the bus that morning. At 29 years old, Pamela quickly made 2 phone calls upon discovering Justin's absence. The first call was to the boy's father, 34-year-old Victor Lee Buddy Turner, a pipe welder for General Dynamics. The second call went to the Berkeley County Sheriff's Department to report Justin missing. The 911 call, according to dispatch records, was made precisely at 3:12 p.m. The response from law enforcement to this call and the gravity with which they treated the child's disappearance is a matter of perspective. While local law enforcement maintains they took the matter extremely seriously at the time, Justin's mother, Elaine, and stepfather, Russell, believed the response was not swift enough and that the seriousness of the situation was not fully recognized until days later. Russell, speaking to the Post and Courier, revealed that investigators initially had 2 responses to the call. First, they considered the possibility of Justin being a typical runaway, believing he would return on his own. Second, their attention turned to Elaine, given the ongoing divorce situation and her efforts to change the custody agreement. Authorities theorized that Elaine might have come to Moncks Corner and abducted Justin before he boarded the bus. However, this theory was swiftly dismissed when it was confirmed that both Elaine and Russell were at work when they received the calls about Justin's disappearance. Denise Finley, one of Justin's cousins, later recounted that in those early days, Elaine received multiple calls from the police. Denise stated they were calling to find out what she had done with Justin. Her response each time was, "I don't have my son. Will you please find my son?" According to the Sheriff's Department, the initial responders to the 911 call were James Gaithers and Philip Mason. Gaithers, after taking the initial report, started searching through the home and surrounding property, considering the possibility that Justin had chosen not to go to school and might be hiding nearby. Gaithers later testified that they searched the camper twice that day, specifying that the searches were not thorough, involving going inside and looking around without moving or shifting objects or furniture. On the other hand, Mason testified that he did search the camper on Friday and opened the compartment where Justin was later found. However, he claimed there was no sign of the boy in there that day. Mason later admitted that while he opened the compartment, he didn't look all the way inside. Mason faced difficulty passing a polygraph when questioned about whether he had genuinely searched the trailer, expressing confusion over his failure. The search of the camper emerges as a significant point of contention and confusion in the investigation, involving not only the police. Justin's paternal grandmother and a neighbor asserted that they either witnessed or directly participated in searching the camper before the child was discovered. Over the next 48 hours, searches for Justin were conducted. Deputies canvassed the neighborhood on Friday, speaking with neighbors about the morning of the boy's disappearance. No one had seen him leaving his home or approaching the bus stop that day. Early theories considered the possibility of someone grabbing Justin before he exited his property, possibly toward the end of his driveway. However, a consensus emerged that whoever took the child was likely someone he knew and felt comfortable with, given Justin's shy nature. Despite the urgency and the hope to find Justin alive, investigators grew more concerned as time passed. By Sunday, March 5th, the search team expanded to include members of the State Law Enforcement Division, SEAL-led, search and rescue squads, as well as friends and neighbors. Notably, no members from Elaine's side of the family were allowed to participate in the searches or enter the Turners' property. This restriction may have been a result of the initial belief that Elaine was somehow involved in Justin's disappearance. On that Sunday morning, more than 100 people gathered at the Turners' home around 7:45 a.m., forming search groups assigned to different areas. Victor Buddy Turner, Justin's father, walked towards the camper around 8:30 a.m., pulled open the door, and entered. Shortly after going in, he called out that Justin was found, and tragically, he was dead. The discovery prompted the need to secure the scene for evidence, but the situation was challenging. Over the preceding days, hundreds of people had been through the home and property. Multiple individuals, including law enforcement, stated that they had searched the trailer previously. When asked about the location where Justin was found, Sheriff Cannon expressed his bewilderment, stating he couldn't imagine how anyone could have carried the child in and out with everyone in the neighborhood on high alert about the missing child. Nevertheless, he acknowledged the credibility of the men who claimed to have looked inside. The condition of Justin's body added another layer of confusion to the investigation. Police reported that the body felt unusually cold to the touch, colder than expected given that temperatures in the area had not dropped below 58 degrees during the time he was missing. Additionally, authorities observed a lack of decomposition, and water droplets were found on both his forehead and nose. While an autopsy was pending at the time, theories began to circulate suggesting that the child may have been killed and then stored in a refrigerator before being placed in the small compartment inside the camper. Following this distressing discovery, investigators proceeded to the next steps in the case, primarily focusing on re-questioning the parents. Pamela and Buddy were separated, while other deputies engaged in discussions with Elaine and Russell. The exact details of these early interrogations have never been fully disclosed, but it is evident that none of them seemed to have information about what could have transpired or how Justin ended up in the camper. According to investigators, Pamela reiterated the same story she had shared on the day she reported Justin missing, that he left for school while she was in the shower, and she had no inkling that anything was amiss until hours later when he failed to get off the bus. Justin's body was removed from the compartment and taken to Berkeley County Coroner William B. Smith, Jr., who conducted the autopsy. Deputies from the Sheriff's Department were joined by 8 members of the State Law Enforcement Division, SLED, including 4 crime scene technicians and 4 agents, to assist in evidence collection. The camper was thoroughly searched, photographed, and dusted for prints. The Turners' home underwent a meticulous search from top to bottom, with several items, including a dog leash, sheets, tissues, Justin's underwear, cereal, and hair and fibers, being removed and sent to the state lab in Columbia for analysis. According to later released warrant details, crime scene technicians also examined a freezer in a storage shed on the property, collecting hair, fibers, blood, and latent fingerprints. Despite the intensive search and analysis, authorities did not find any evidence directly linking Elaine or anything tying Pamela or Buddy to the incident. Much of the investigation at this juncture depended on the results of the autopsy and the answers that could be derived from evidence analysis at the crime lab. When questioned about potential suspects, Sheriff Cannon expressed uncertainty, stating, "I can't say it's not a lunatic running around, and I can't tell them not to be afraid. I don't know who's running around out there, but apparently someone who would do anything is out there. Somebody put him in there. Definitely he didn't put himself in there." On Monday, March 6th, Coroner Smith concluded and issued his report to investigators. The key inquiry at that moment was disclosed: the cause of Justin's death, determined as homicide, specifically by strangulation. The autopsy indicated that the 5-year-old had been strangled using a slender object, potentially a small belt or even a dog leash. The autopsy report disturbingly confirmed that Justin had been sexually assaulted. His pants were partially pulled down, about a third of the way down his legs. The forensic examination showed that the killer had inserted a cylindrical object into Justin, though it could not be confirmed if this happened before or after his death. No semen was present, and there were no prior injuries, suggesting the assault occurred around the time of death rather than as part of long-term abuse. While the object used is not confirmed, commonly mentioned possibilities were a broom handle or soda bottle. The coroner could not pinpoint Justin's time of death, adding confusion. Investigators needed to know if he was killed the day he went missing or sometime after searches began, which could indicate if he was in the camper the whole time. Sheriff Cannon expressed frustration over the unclear timing evidence, saying they lacked enough autopsy results to draw conclusions. He noted the shifting time of death estimates between 30 hours, 7 hours, and 6 hours as problematic. It seemed highly unlikely a stranger abducted, assaulted, and killed Justin to hide him in the trailer afterwards. On Tuesday, March 7th, a gathering of more than 200 people took place at the park's funeral home to offer their condolences to the child and his family. Justin was laid to rest in a brown coffin adorned in clothing he had chosen beforehand for family photographs alongside his mother and stepfather. The ensemble included a white shirt, navy sweater, gray pants, brown leather shoes, and a red print bow tie. Within the coffin, Justin was surrounded by his cherished possessions, such as a baseball t-shirt from the Ladson All-Stars, a ball autographed by his favorite player, L.M. Garrick, a pound puppy, and a California Raisins doll. His final resting place was a mausoleum in Somerville Cemetery. On the same day, deputies and CLED agents convened with pathologists at the Medical University Hospital to review the autopsy findings. Subsequent interviews with investigators unveiled several new details. Notably, at the time of discovery, Justin was holding a small clump of hair between his fingers, its origin unknown. Sent for analysis, it was later determined to be animal hair, though the specific type was unspecified. Examination of food in Justin's stomach helped narrow down his time of death between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. on Friday, March 3rd, the day he was reported missing. With this revised time frame, and considering Pamela as the last person to have seen Justin alive, authorities turned their attention more closely to Buddy and Pamela. On Wednesday, March 8th, CELED agents arrived at the Turners' home, taking both individuals to their Columbia headquarters for separate questioning that lasted approximately 4 hours. Pamela and Buddy underwent polygraph tests on the same day. Although Sheriff Cannon initially characterized the polygraphs as routine, a conflicting report from the Charlotte Observer quoted him as stating, "We think so," when asked if they were suspects. Between March 8th and 10th, numerous articles in local newspapers citing apparent insiders revealed unconfirmed details, hindering the investigation. In response, the Berkeley County Sheriff's Department issued a statement imposing a freeze on information releases. Lieutenant Sidney Wren, the lead investigator, emphasized the need to avoid media interference. Frustrations escalated on all fronts following the media blackout, with community leaders and town council members expressing concerns about a perceived lack of progress. W. Gene Woods Jr. of the town council noted community dissatisfaction, emphasizing the need for answers and progress. Shirley Burnett, Justin's grandmother, voiced her frustration, urging for an arrest and answers as the months passed without resolution. Dale T. Cobb, a lawyer representing the Turners, expressed his hope that the police would apprehend the killer. He claimed that his clients were unaware of the case's progress, asserting that investigators kept them uninformed. However, this lack of communication may have stemmed from difficulties with Buddy and Pamela. Following their questioning and inconclusive polygraph results, the couple hired lawyers and ceased cooperation. Despite initially agreeing to new polygraph tests, they later declined, citing legal advice. Pamela and Buddy, called to testify, invoked their Fifth Amendment right, refusing to answer questions under legal advice. Their lawyers cited concerns about the open nature of the proceedings, lacking privacy and protections. The first day of the inquest encountered issues as key witnesses, including Pamela and Buddy, declined to answer questions. Their refusal was based on the Fifth Amendment, and the lawyers argued that the public nature of the proceedings was not in their client's best interest. Dr. Clay Nichols, a medical examiner, testified about the sexual assault and dismissed theories about storing Justin in a cold place before placing him in the camper. 16 witnesses testified on the tumultuous first day. On Monday, March 6th, Coroner Smith completed his report and shared it with investigators. The pivotal revelation at that time was the disclosure of Justin's death being a homicide by strangulation. The autopsy indicated that the 5-year-old had been strangled with a thin object, potentially a small belt or a dog leash. On Monday, December 18th, a second inquiry began, overseen again by Coroner Smith. Deputy James Gaithers testified first, recounting his searches at the Turners' home after being notified on Friday, March 3rd. Despite the absence of Pamela and Buddy on the first day of the inquest, testimony about their inconclusive polygraph results was presented. Allegedly, they had attempted to influence the test by taking sedatives before it was administered. The second day of the inquest proceeded without Pamela and Buddy. Discrepancies and animosity among family members emerged. Lurid details included Pamela's alleged nonchalant response to news reports about Justin's murder and a physical altercation among relatives on the day Justin's body was found. Subsequently, Cell-Ed agents located Pamela and Buddy in Spartanburg and served them with subpoenas. The third day delved into family dynamics, accusing Pamela and Buddy of dishonesty. Buddy's mother, Peggy Still Ames, testified about a phone conversation with Pamela's mother, Eva Stalvey, revealing disagreements on involvement in the investigation. Pamela's parents defended her, accusing family members and investigators of conspiring to frame her. Claims about an impression resembling a child's body in the soil between hay bales were made, but no detective investigated it. Pamela's parents offered an alternative perspective, emphasizing Pamela's love for Justin. The jury recommended a warrant for Pamela's arrest, leading to her immediate detention. The case then shifted to the Ninth Circuit Solicitor's Office, with uncertainty about proceeding to the grand jury. Pamela's bail was set at $100,000, secured with collateral from family members. Deputy Solicitor Steve Davis discussed the legal differences between the inquest and a grand jury. In January 1990, the Solicitor's Office decided to present the case to a grand jury, resulting in an indictment against Pamela for the strangulation murder of Justin. The trial was initially set for August, but delayed to October at the defense's request. However, on November 13th, Deputy Solicitor Davis dropped all charges against Pamela, citing a lack of evidence. The decision was influenced by forensic investigations that failed to definitively link Pamela to the crime. Family discussions also played a role, considering the insufficiency of evidence for a conviction and avoiding the risk of double jeopardy. In January 1991, news surfaced about a new witness claiming to have witnessed Justin's abduction on Horseshoe Road the day he disappeared. Despite dropping charges, authorities had known about this witness since the early days of the investigation. The witness featured in the news story turned out to be a 6-year-old boy who informed his mother that he had witnessed a man grabbing Justin and taking him to a nearby car on the morning he went missing. Despite being informed about this witness early in the investigation, investigators initially dismissed the eyewitness account based on the opinion of 2 out of 3 psychiatrists. These psychiatrists suggested that the child might have seen news stories about the case, leading him to imagine the scenario. However, nearly 2 years later, Sheriff Ray Isgett was taking the account seriously, asserting that this witness held the key to unraveling the truth. The child's mother revealed that even after all this time, her son remained too afraid to go outside and had experienced severe trauma from what he had witnessed. The mother also disclosed that in the days following Justin's discovery, they received anonymous calls threatening both her and her son to keep quiet. According to reports in local papers, the boy told the police that, on the morning of Justin's disappearance, he observed Justin leaving his family's home and walking down the dirt driveway. The child then witnessed an older male emerging from behind a large pile of dirt, calling out to Justin, who walked towards him. When Justin approached, the man covered his mouth with his hand and pulled him away. The witness described the man as having black, partially spiked hair, standing less than 6 feet 2 inches tall and weighing over 150 pounds. The vehicle was described as a dull, gray, compact car. Investigators were only able to locate one person matching the child's description, but he was swiftly ruled out as a suspect. When questioned about why they hadn't pursued the matter further, investigators cited concerns about the child's severe trauma, fearing additional psychological damage. Psychiatrists also advised against further inquiries, suggesting that the child might not withstand cross-examination in a trial. Consequently, this lead was not further pursued. Ultimately, investigators believed they knew the truth about who was responsible, but lacked the necessary evidence to prove it. In May of 1991, Sheriff Isgett, running on a campaign to solve Justin's case, made statements to the media. He mentioned that physical evidence yet to be analyzed had been sent to the state crime lab, expressing confidence in making an arrest within 6 months. Regarding Pamela, Isgit neither identified her as the prime suspect nor ruled her out, mentioning a suspect close to her. Experts, including those from the FBI's Behavioral Science Unit and other agencies, believed Justin's death resulted from anger and frustration. Isgit stated that they agreed on the likely killer and believed this person might have confided in someone who, under state law, could be charged as an accessory after the fact. Sheriff Isgit asserted that there was sufficient evidence for an arrest, but not enough for an open and shut case. 5 months later, in October, Isgit revealed that the analyzed evidence was a fiber recovered from Justin's body. This fiber helped eliminate one potential suspect while strengthening suspicions about another. A month later, in March of 1992, 3 years after Justin's murder, a new law was enacted, altering the rules governing the compelling of spouses to testify. Specifically, in cases involving the death or murder of a child, spouses were no longer able to plead the fifth and would face contempt of court charges for refusing to testify. Unfortunately, this law could not be retroactively applied to individuals previously charged or indicted for murder, thus offering little assistance to Justin's case. This development added to the series of missteps, near misses, and mistakes in a case already marked by unfortunate turns. In that same month, Elaine Pace initiated a $10 million lawsuit against the Sheriff's Department, asserting negligence in their investigation. The lawsuit alleged that the Sheriff's Department inadequately probed Justin's death, failed to secure the crime scene by allowing Pamela and Buddy to continue residing in the home, and did not sufficiently examine physical evidence. In response, the Sheriff's Department contended that Elaine had missed the deadline for filing the lawsuit and denied any negligence in their investigation. After 6 months, in September, Judge Gerald Smoke dismissed the case, citing the prior ruling by the state Supreme Court that public officials could not be held liable for exercising their discretion in the performance of public duties. Once again, Justin's case faded from media headlines, and a new conflict emerged between the Sheriff's Office and the Ninth Circuit Solicitor's Office. Sheriff Isgate claimed there was ample evidence for an arrest, but refrained from doing so because Deputy Solicitor Schweike insisted on additional evidence for prosecution. The case became a political matter, surfacing in debates among candidates vying for sheriff and other public positions. While some perceived investigative missteps, the Sheriff's Office maintained that they had diligently pursued all avenues but lacked the necessary evidence. As Elaine grappled with the profound loss of her son, the case started going cold. Nevertheless, it remained far from over. Over the subsequent years, there was ongoing discourse in the media, predominantly between the Sheriff's Department and the Solicitor's Office. Sheriff Isgate expressed his frustration to reporters, indicating that his department had exhausted all efforts, but the Solicitor's Office consistently demanded more evidence. During the election for a new sheriff, several deputies who had worked under both Isgate and Cannon entered the race. In debates, Lieutenant Sidney Wren and Deputy Wayne Dewitt acknowledged their dedicated efforts on the case, but conceded that a prosecution was unlikely unless a confession emerged. In December 1996, Coroner William Smith Jr. passed away. The following January, family members discovered several files related to Justin's case while going through Smith's belongings. It was unclear whether these files were originals, not in the possession of investigators, or copies Smith had taken home for personal work on the case. The documents were handed over to Coroner Wade Arnett, who then contacted Cell Ed and delivered all the files to them. Unfortunately, after this discovery, Justin's case once again slipped from the headlines, and the investigation seemed to encounter a standstill. Tragically, On Sunday, December 26, 2004, Vivian Elaine Pace passed away at the age of 46. For 15 years, she had struggled to come to terms with the loss of her son while persistently fighting for justice. Regrettably, she lost that battle and was laid to rest in the mausoleum next to her beloved child. Meanwhile, neither Buddy nor Pamela initiates any phone calls to stay in contact with the police, seeking updates on the investigation or advocating for justice on behalf of Justin. In the unfolding events of April 2021, investigators turned their attention back to a case that had long lingered in dormancy, reinvigorating it with renewed scrutiny and dedication. The focal point was a meticulous re-evaluation of the physical evidence meticulously gathered from the crime scene in 1989. This re-examined evidence was then meticulously conveyed to forensic pathologists for a comprehensive analysis. Harnessing the strides made in technological advancements, the investigators successfully identified a correlation between the fibers discovered within the confines of the Turners' residence and those found in the injuries sustained by Justin's neck and on the clothing he wore as delineated by Plitch. Amidst the rekindled investigation, Lewis found himself in contemplation, a reflection centered on the poignant absence of a 5-year-old boy who never had the chance to experience the passage of time. Today marks what would have been Justin's 40th birthday. He could have experienced high school, pursued further education, started a family, and made meaningful contributions to society, noted Lewis. Unfortunately, that envisioned future was stolen from him by these two individuals. Amy Parsons, Justin's cousin who witnessed the tragic events at the age of 8, emphasized the need for accountability. She passionately declared during the news conference that these individuals have enjoyed freedom for 34 years, while her family endured prolonged suffering. Granting them another day outside prison bars is undeserved. On Tuesday, Victor Lee Turner, 69, and Megan R. Turner, 63, were arrested at their Cross Hill residence, located approximately 3.5 hours north of Berkeley County where the crime occurred, as announced by Berkeley County Sheriff Dwayne Lewis in a news conference on Wednesday. Both individuals were taken into custody on a murder charge and subsequently booked into Hill Finkler Detention Center in Moncks Corner, South Carolina. Jail records indicate that bond for each of them had not been set at the time of reporting. The current status of legal representation for the Turners remains unclear, as it is unknown whether they have retained a lawyer for their defense. A former attorney for the defendants, who retired in 2016, stated that he no longer represents them. As of Friday, there was no immediate response from the area public defender to a request for comment. Both Victor and Megan Pamela refused to engage in discussions with investigators throughout a 3-hour journey from their residence in Cross Hill back to Berkeley County, as stated by the sheriff. The initial court hearings for the Turners are set for March 15th. The intricate and tumultuous journey of Justin Turner's case unfolds as a compelling narrative marked by twists, turns, and the enduring pursuit of justice. From the initial tragedy in 1989 to the recent developments in 2024, investigators have navigated through challenges, setbacks, and the evolving landscape of forensic technology. As we reflect on the stories of individuals impacted by this heartbreaking case, it underscores the profound impact such incidents leave on families and communities. The quest for truth continues, and while some mysteries have found resolution, others persist, serving as a poignant reminder that behind every cold case lies a web of lives forever altered. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the intricate details of Justin Turner's case. If you found this content engaging and informative, please consider subscribing to our channel for more in-depth explorations of true crime stories, investigations, and mysteries. Your support means a lot. and we look forward to bringing you more compelling narratives in the future. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and stay tuned for our upcoming releases. Until next time, thank you for watching